Spirit warriors. Have you ever walked into a room and felt the energy shift like people just know you're not from around here? That's because you're not. You're chosen. Why is it that no matter how big the storm is, you come out looking like you never even got wet? Why do the odds crumble at your feet when they should have crushed you? Why are enemies watching you like you're Houdini, whispering, how did they survive that? Once upon a not so long time ago, there was a woman. Let's call her Naima. She was raised in chaos, abandoned, betrayed, and laughed at. People swore she'd never amount to anything. But today, Naima walks with a peace that can't be faked, favors that can't be explained, and grace that silences rooms. Folks from her past are baffled. How did she make it? They whisper like she's casting spells. But spirit warriors, let me tell you, it ain't magic, it's anointing. Chosen ones, you walk in miracles. You are the manifestation of what shouldn't be happening but is. You confuse the enemy because your life isn't supposed to make sense. But it does. To God. You see, when you carry divine favor, your very existence becomes a threat. It's not just what you do, it's who you are. And when people can't explain your power, they start getting scared. As Marianne Williamson once said, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. Spirit warriors, you are that fear walking in human form. So stay with me until the very last second of this video. Because I'm about to break down 7 powerful truths that reveal why your enemies think you're Houdini, how your spiritual energy stuns the masses, and why your impossible life is actually proof of God's hands all over you. Let's wake up the spirit warriors. Let's shake up the chosen ones. Let's dive into what they fear most, you. Point 1. You defy logic. People can't explain you, and that's exactly what makes you unforgettable. You don't fit in formulas. You don't follow patterns. You're not the result of a 5-step plan or a 10-year forecast. You're the exception to the rule, the plot twist, in a world addicted to predictability. While others rely on logic and linear thinking, your journey defies it all. You're the one who walked into a room full of qualified people and got the job with 0 connections. Not because of who you knew, but because of who you are. You're the one who healed from what should have broken you for good. The doctors were baffled. The report said chronic, irreversible, incurable, but the divine whispered, not yet. And just like that, you kept living when others were bracing for your fall. You're not a fluke, you're not lucky, you're divinely orchestrated. And your enemies? Whew, they're confused, flustered, spooked. They're zooming in on your photos, stalking your comments, trying to piece together how you went from surviving to thriving without the usual tools. They want to know your cheat code. They want the blueprint, the shortcut, the secret sauce. But here's the catch. There is no cheat code. There's only favor. There's only purpose. And that can't be copied. Science calls it an anomaly. Statisticians call it an outlier. The streets call it a miracle. But God calls it you. There's a reason the glow-up hit differently for you. You didn't just evolve, you transformed. You didn't climb the ladder, you levitated. People saw you fall, counted you out, and turned the page. But your story wasn't over. God had a surprise ending planned all along. Because sometimes the ones the world ignores are the very ones heaven highlights. And now, those who doubted you sit quietly, watching from the sidelines, sipping on their regret like bitter tea. They once mocked your dreams, laughed at your struggles. But now they're mesmerized by your resilience. And while they scroll through your life trying to make sense of the magic, you keep rising. You are living proof that when logic says impossible, God confidently responds, watch this. Keep shining. You're not here to be understood. You're here to be witnessed. Point 2. Your energy speaks before you do. The silent power of the chosen ones. Chosen ones don't need to announce themselves. There's no grand entrance, no flashy display, no need to raise your voice. Yet the moment you walk into a room, the energy shifts. People suddenly get tense, straighten their posture, glance at you sideways. Some start nervously tapping their feet, others pretend not to notice, but they notice. That unease, it's not because you did anything. It's not intimidation in the worldly sense. It's conviction. Your presence, wrapped in divine alignment, hits something deep inside them. You don't just enter a space, you reveal it. You see, your spirit carries light, Not the artificial kind, but that raw, holy kind that comes from being chosen, purified through storms, betrayal, isolation, and purpose. That light doesn't just shine, it exposes. And the truth is, some people have been living in darkness so long that even a flicker of purity feels like a threat. When your light walks in, it starts revealing what they've been trying to hide, the lies they told, the masks they wear, the envy they deny. And instead of dealing with that, they point fingers. "It must be witchcraft," they whisper. "She must be doing something unnatural." No, baby, it's not spells. It's spiritual hygiene. It's the holiness that comes from walking with purpose. Psychologists say humans project their insecurities onto others when they're not ready to face their own shadows. You're not casting spells, you're casting reflections. And the mirror you hold up is one they didn't ask for, but can't look away from. It's easier to accuse you of being too much, too deep, or too different than to accept they've been too comfortable in their dysfunction. But here's the beauty. You don't have to shrink to keep their demons comfortable. You weren't sent to blend in. You were sent to be light. Light doesn't apologize for shining. And you're walking confirmation that the divine is still active in this world. That kind of presence disturbs darkness. So keep glowing, keep walking in truth, and let them adjust themselves. You're not responsible for their discomfort. You're a chosen one, and that alone shakes the room. Point 3. You've mastered the invisible. While the world is busy broadcasting every achievement, chasing clout, and screaming for validation, you're over here playing a completely different game. You're not moving for applause, you're moving for alignment. Alignment with purpose, with calling, with your Creator. While others seek likes and followers, you seek inner peace and divine direction. You know that the loudest one in the room is often the most insecure, so you move in silence, not out of fear, but out of wisdom. Real power doesn't need to announce itself. You pray in private, trusting that the God who sees in secret will reward you openly. What most people don't understand is that spiritual victories always precede physical ones. You win in the spirit before anything ever shows up in your bank account, your resume, or your Instagram feed. You're not just setting goals, you're aligning with divine timing, divine guidance, and divine protection. That's why when enemies try to track your progress, they come up short. They can't figure you out. One moment, they counted you out. The next, you're 10 steps ahead. They're left scratching their heads like, how did they do that? But that's the thing. You're not relying on natural moves. You're operating with supernatural momentum. It's not magic, it's strategy. Not man's strategy, but God's. That's why your life doesn't follow the predictable script. You don't take every opportunity, because not every door is God-ordained. You don't argue to be understood, because the right people will discern your spirit. And you're not rattled by delays, because you know divine timing never shows up late. Your moves may be invisible, but the results are undeniable. Enemies can't sabotage what they can't see. They try to study your patterns, but you've got holy Wi-Fi. Your instructions come from a source they don't have access to. It's not luck, and it's definitely not coincidence. You're being guided, and every time you level up, every time you bounce back stronger, every time you achieve without explaining, you remind them. This isn't just hustle. This is heavenly alignment. So no, you're not Houdini. You're not pulling tricks. You're a spirit warrior, one who trains in stillness, moves with purpose, and listens to whispers from heaven. And that's why they'll never see you coming, but they'll definitely feel your impact. Point 4. You turn pain into power. Most people crumble when life applies pressure. They retreat, unravel, or lose themselves trying to escape the storm. But not you. You're different. When the pressure builds, when the room gets heavy, and when the world expects you to fall apart, you rise. You don't just survive it. You transform it. You've taken heartbreak and turned it into rocket fuel. Where others see devastation, you see divine direction. Rejection doesn't destroy you. It reroutes you, sharpens you, and sends you exactly where you were meant to go. And loss? You've turned it into legacy. The things you've let go of have made space for things far greater. Your enemies watch in confusion. They expected you to collapse under the weight of betrayal, heartbreak, or grief. They whispered, "This will break them." But it didn't. You're still standing. Better yet, you're glowing. What they didn't understand is that broken vessels let the most light through. In ancient Japan, there's an art form called kintsugi, where broken pottery is mended with gold. The cracks don't hide the damage, they highlight it, turning the flaw into the feature. That's what you are, a walking, shining piece of resilience. Your scars aren't signs of weakness, they're golden seams of survival. And it's not magic, it's transformation. You didn't get here by waving a wand. You got here by making brutal decisions in lonely rooms, by crying and then standing up anyway, by choosing growth over revenge, grace over bitterness, and healing over hatred. What you've done isn't supernatural, it's deeply human. But most humans don't dare go there. They numb, distract, or give up. You chose the fire and let it refine you. Psychologically, this ability is known as post-traumatic growth, where people don't just bounce back after hardship, but bounce forward, evolving into wiser, stronger, more compassionate versions of themselves. You're not the same person who was hurt. You've upgraded. People will continue to wonder, how do they do it? And the answer will always be, you turned your pain into purpose. You alchemized the weight of your past into wings for your future. The very things that were meant to break you became the bricks that built you. You don't just survive, you rise. And in your rising, you light the path for others still crawling through the dark. Point 5. You see what others miss. You catch vibes before words are ever spoken. That sudden tension in the air? You feel it before anyone else notices a shift. That uneasy feeling around someone who smiles too much? You sense the storm behind the sunshine. That's not paranoia, it's discernment, and it's one of the most powerful spiritual gifts a person can have. It's the ability to see beyond appearances, to read energy rather than expressions, and to feel truth even when it's being hidden. You don't need someone to betray you out loud. Your spirit often registers the danger long before the blade is pulled from behind their back. Discernment is why you don't fall for sweet talk or smooth lies. It's why fake people keep their distance or act strange around you. They know you see through them. It rattles them. To those who live behind masks, your clarity feels like exposure. You're like a spiritual mirror, reflecting the truth they're trying to hide, even from themselves. And since they can't deceive you, they start calling you too deep, intense, or just plain weird. But deep down, they're not confused. They're uncomfortable. Because nothing is more terrifying to a manipulator than someone they can't manipulate. This gift you carry is ancient. Many of history's greatest leaders, prophets, and visionaries had it. It's not just intuition, it's spiritual insight. In psychology, it overlaps with what's called high emotional intelligence, the ability to read nonverbal cues, spot inconsistencies, and understand the emotions of others without needing them to speak. But with discernment, it's deeper. It's your spirit connecting with the unseen. That's why it's called a gift. Not everyone has it, and those who do often feel the weight of it. Chosen ones, don't dim that gift to fit in. Your discernment isn't a curse, it's your superpower. It protects you, guides you, and separates you from harm. It's why doors open for you while others knock endlessly. It's why you leave toxic situations without needing all the facts. You feel the truth. And while others may roll their eyes or whisper behind your back, deep down they wish they had your insight. So don't apologize for being too much. That's just the language of people who can't play you. Shine in your knowing. Discernment is divine. Point 6. You're never really alone. People think you're out here doing this solo, navigating life with nothing but instinct and luck. But what they don't see, what they can't see, is the spiritual army walking beside you. They don't see the angels assigned to your journey, stationed like silent sentinels at every fork in the road. They don't hear the quiet whisper of the Holy Spirit, gently guiding your every step. To the outside world, your discernment seems eerie, even unsettling. You just knew not to go to that event where something went wrong. You just felt something wasn't right with that person everyone else thought was charming. Your timing is too accurate. Your peace is too deep. Your survival through storms that should have drowned you? Too miraculous. So what do people say? It's spooky. It's strange. It's something otherworldly. They're not wrong about the otherworldly part, but it's not what they think. This isn't sorcery. This isn't superstition. This is spiritual obedience. divine alignment, a life that listens when God speaks. What they call spooky is actually the fruit of surrender. When you pray for clarity and actually wait for it. When you choose peace over pressure. When you refuse to chase what doesn't carry God's presence. That's not weird, that's wisdom. In a world obsessed with hustle and human effort, divine guidance feels like a cheat code. But the truth is, anyone can tap into it, if they're willing to listen. When you walk in obedience, you don't just avoid chaos. You walk straight into favor. The world calls it luck, but you know it's the Holy Spirit redirecting you at the last minute, pulling you out of places where your purpose would have been hijacked. People underestimate the power of spiritual awareness because it can't be measured or explained. But look closer, and you'll see it's the very thing keeping you one step ahead. The enemy tries, but he can't touch what's protected. And that's you. Too covered, too called, too chosen. So the next time they look at you sideways, wondering how you just knew, smile. Let them wonder. Because when you walk with God, mystery follows you. And that mystery, it's not magic, it's ministry. It's not strange, it's sacred. Point 7. You carry a destiny that intimidates small minds. You were born for something bigger, something that stretches beyond the ordinary, beyond routine, beyond the limitations most people accept as just life. And here's the wild part. Even people who barely know you can sense it. They may not be able to pinpoint what it is, but something about your energy, your mindset, your very presence unsettles them. You walk into a room and suddenly, others feel the urge to evaluate themselves. Am I doing enough? Am I living with purpose? You don't say a word, yet you challenge people to either rise to their greatness or quietly remove themselves from your orbit. That kind of presence is rare and powerful. It's why you trigger people without even trying. Your confidence, your resilience, your ability to overcome what should have broken you. It throws people off. Not because you're arrogant, but because you embody possibility. You prove just by existing and thriving that the limits they've placed on themselves aren't real, and that scares them. Why? Because if you can do what they said was impossible, if you can keep pushing despite the odds, then maybe they've been settling. Maybe they could have done more. You become a mirror, not of their achievements, but of their avoidance. You walk in miracles. You faced storms, setbacks, sabotage, yet somehow you still rise, still smile, still shine. That's not luck. That's divine design. Studies in quantum physics even support the concept that energy is felt before it's explained. Your field, your frequency, your faith, it changes the room. People feel it even when they can't articulate it. And when folks can't label or control something, fear creeps in. You become the mystery they can't solve, the force they can't match, the destiny they can't deny. So don't shrink. Don't dim your light to comfort those still hiding from theirs. You were never meant to blend in. You were born to awaken, to disrupt, to elevate. Keep walking in your truth, miracles and all. Spirit warriors, they'll call you Houdini, a witch, a sorcerer. Let them talk. Let them whisper in confusion while you walk in clarity. Let them fear what they don't understand. Because the truth is, they should be afraid, not of you, but of the God in you. Keep being miraculous. Keep doing the impossible, not to prove them wrong, but to glorify the one who chose you. Enemies will watch, they'll wonder, they'll worry, but you'll keep walking through fire and not even smell like smoke. Stay powerful, stay awake, stay chosen. Your spiritual journey is just beginning, and it's already legendary. Stay until the end and stay in your divine lane. We see you, spirit warrior, we feel you, and guess what? So do they.